Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is where we talk about all things books, cozy hobbies and low spend living. And in today's episode we are going to be talking about all things Halloween. And just before we get into all the fun activities, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on Halloween, or Samhain as it is called in Ireland, because this is actually a Celtic holiday. And yes, Ireland was a Celtic and pagan country long before it was Catholic. So I just thought I'd give a little bit of background on that, seeing as I am Irish, in case you didn't know by my accent, before diving into all the books, movies. And I have to say, I absolutely love Halloween. And I don't know if this is just an Irish thing or if this is an all over the world thing, but back in the 90s when I was a kid, we dressed up, we did all that stuff, except the main part of your costume was a black bin bag or a trash bag, if that's what part of the world you're from. So I will see if I can insert some pictures of some of the crazy outfits that my parents thought would make good costumes. A lot of the time it involved a black bin bag, bad face paint and some sort of like a red top or a black polo neck top. A big reason why we actually dressed in those costumes was to disguise ourselves from the ghosts, from the Púca and from the veil being thin. So because these ghosts were going to be walking the earth for one night only, it was really important that they didn't know we were human, because we didn't want them to like get us. So that's traditionally where the costumes come from. Going even further back than that, Samhain is marking the end of the harvest season and the start of winter. So in Ireland we would traditionally have fire festivals to mark the end of a season and the start of a new one. So we'd have a bonfire and we'd do trick or treating. Back in the day it was very low key. It was very much like you'd get an apple, you'd get a few nuts and you'd be on your way, you'd be happy. When I was actually doing a bit of research just for the intro of this video, I forgot that I had this gorgeous book that my mum gifted me a little while ago, and it was just talking about some of the customs for Samhain, and just the fact that a big part of it is that we believe that the veil between this world and the world of the spirits is thinned around Samhain, Halloween night. So there would have been a lot of remembering ancestors and a belief that ghosts could walk the earth. So they are called Púca in Irish, and a Púca is kind of like a mischievous spirit. They wouldn't be as bad as maybe some of the spirits from other parts of the world, but you don't want to get on the wrong side of the Púca. We also have a Banshee, so woman of the Sidhe, and the Sidhe are kind of like a fairy type of people, and if you hear the Banshee crying at night, someone in your family is going to die, so you don't want that. And she also has really long grey hair and she combs her hair, and if you see her comb, or if she throws a comb at you, like, that's really bad. We have a lot of these stories which are deeply rooted in our culture, and it's kind of crazy that Halloween has become so commercialised, and I know in the States it's like an absolutely massive thing. Another thing in Ireland, which I don't know if you will have wherever you're from, is Barmbrack. And barn actually means like speckled, so basically it's kind of like a fruit loaf would be how I describe it, and you cut it and there is little trinkets hidden in it. So the ones you get from the supermarkets now would just have a ring in it. Well, actually I don't know if they still have a ring in it, because I feel like it could be a choking hazard. But when you were a kid, when I was a little girl, you'd really want to get the ring, and it was like a little like fake costume jewellery ring, and it would mean that you were going to get married, or you were going to be next to get married in your family. So a lot of divination went on around the time of Halloween, in particular regard to who was going to get married, but like it was only a bit of fun, or a bit of crack as we say in Ireland. And I also feel like this time of year is allowing us to take a breath before we get into the Christmas season. Colours and nature at this time of year is just so beautiful, and it's really nice to sometimes mirror that within your own wardrobe. Although I do wear a lot of black, I am really feeling the cherry red nails. I don't know if you can see them. That was a DIY job that I did myself, very proud of that. Just nice to bring a bit of nature and a bit of those colours indoors. And as I said, I have my lovely pumpkin here, which will be turned into soup. So I think Don't get a plastic pumpkin, get a real pumpkin. I've mentioned in other videos that I have been building my DVD collection, and I think Halloween is the perfect time to start actually watching these DVDs. So I broke them down into different sections, and I actually have quite a lot of sort of scary DVDs. So I just said I'd run through them today really quickly. Some of them will be rewatches and some of them will be new watches for me. So I'm going to kick it off with one of my favourite films of all time, and it is Donnie Darko. And I first saw this when I was about, I think, 14 and was completely obsessed with it. Still am completely obsessed. And part of it is set in Halloween, so it's the perfect time to give this a watch if you haven't watched it before. It is starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a fantastic actor, and the music is brilliant in it as well because it's actually set in the 80s, so it's kind of like a teenage angst sort of, is he having a mental health crisis or is there something a little bit more sinister going on? So I would recommend. Another rewatch for me is Nosferatu, which I got from the library. I saw this in the cinema with my boyfriend when it first came out, and I really liked it. Enough time has passed that I really want to watch this again. I actually think the DVD cover is really cool, and I think Lily Rose Depp did an amazing job in this. Like, I was expecting Nepo Baby vibes, but she's a really good actor, and I really liked the set design. The only thing I thought was some of the male acting was pretty bad and a little bit funny. Worth a watch. Next up I have Hannibal, and this is one I got from the charity shop. I have seen this, but I haven't seen it in a long time. This is definitely a classic. It's definitely super creepy and it's one of the OGs. So I feel like if you haven't watched this and if you like psychological thrillers, this would be for you. So I definitely am going to watch this one again. We have a film that I got from the charity shop. It is Cape Fear. I have not seen this film, but I was recommended it by my dad and by a few other people as well. And again, this one is kind of like building suspense, meant to be one of the classics in terms of cinematography, so I'll be looking forward to giving this one a watch. Next up we have another old one which will be a rewatch for me, but I have not seen this film in a long time, and that is Interview with the Vampire. And the cast in this is pretty big. It's like Brad Pitt, Antonio Banderas, Stephen Rea, is it, and Christian Slater. And I just feel like oh my god, I just saw there Kirsten Dunst is in this. No way. And isn't she the girl? No, she wasn't Bella in Twilight, was she? Am I getting mixed up? Is a really good vampire movie, so I think if you like anything vampires, it's definitely worth watching this. I have ordered another vampire movie from the library, which I will insert the name of here, but it hasn't arrived yet, so that's why I'm not including. Next up we have another classic, and I feel like I've never watched this in full, and it is Psycho. And this is another one I got from the charity shop, so I feel like someone did a really good clear out. Next up, another charity shop one. I don't really know too much about this and I feel like it could be a little bit camp, but it is one of the Hammer collection movies, and it is The Devil Rides Out. So this is a 1960s movie, and it's just one of those classic, I think it's nearly like a vampire or something, I'm not too sure, but these are like the OG horror movies, and even in terms of watching them for fashion, set design, cinematography, the score, it's just really interesting. So I am trying to watch a balance between old and new movies, and I feel like when you find something in the charity shop for 50 cents you can't really say no. Next up we have Clockwork Orange, and I again don't think I've ever seen this in full. I know this is a really freaky film, and I feel like there was a lot of controversy when this came out in the cinema, and again this is one that I got in the charity shop, so I definitely will be watching this in October. And again, I feel like it's something that is directed by Stanley Kubrick, so you know it's gonna be good. And lastly, The Wild Card. This is another one I got from the charity shop, and it is Ouija. How do you say this? I say Ouija. Did I say that right? And I don't know how good it's gonna be, but it just looked really spooky. I feel like, look at the pictures on the back, like to me that just looks scary, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch that. So these are all the movies I'm hoping to watch for Samhain, for October. There definitely is some other classics that I don't have on hand here that I would definitely recommend. I actually asked my mum to help with this segment of the video because she loves horror films. So she suggested Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is the one that I have on order from the library. Insidious, that was me. I think Insidious is really scary. Misery, I love that film Misery. I don't think it's that scary, but when I was a kid, we used to play that as a game. Like somehow we watched that film when we were about 9 years old, and we used to take turns being Misery with the typewriter and banging each other, pretending to bang each other over the legs. Yeah, so Misery. Nightmare on Elm Street, Poltergeist, that was me that suggested that because that was a film I saw when I was a child and it was absolutely terrifying. It, and I don't know if you can see in the back here, but I actually have one of the original copies of it that I found in the charity shop, so I just thought I'd put it up there for display, but I don't know if you can see it. And I added The Ring as well because that is another film that I saw when I was a child and it was absolutely terrifying. So they would be some of the picks I would suggest for Halloween viewing, but I'd love to hear what you like and what you think is good to watch. In terms of not so scary, I would say Hocus Pocus, really like that. And also I really want to watch The Shining again, but I also have a copy of The Shining here that I would like to read. So I don't know, I'm obviously not going to get through all of this in October, but I'm thinking of like prolonging my Halloween season into November and just continuing with this sort of spooky gothic books, movies, TV shows because it is my favourite time of the year. Next up I have some TV shows that I am hoping to watch or rewatch, and that would be American Horror Story. I think I got as far as season 6 and I just was like, okay, that's enough. But like, I think American Horror Story, the Asylum season was terrifying, like so scary. And there was another one that was scary. Freak Show was so scary. Asylum and Freak Show, both terrifying. I think I only got as far as Roanoke and I was like, no, I can't watch this anymore. But I do think there is some really good seasons, so if you haven't watched American Horror Story, I would definitely recommend that. I also watched The Outsider with my boyfriend. We recently just finished watching that, and that is based on some of Stephen King's books. One of the main characters in Holly, we actually read the book Holly by Stephen King and didn't like it, but the character Holly in The Outsider is brilliant and I really enjoyed it. Would recommend. Next, I would recommend rewatching the classic Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I heard that on the remake they mispronounced Samhain. They called it Samhain, so it's kind of like, no, it's Samhain, get it right. And in terms of scary kind of newer stuff, I would say The Haunting of Hill House. I thought that was terrifying. I thought it was so scary. I didn't watch The Fall of the House of Usher, so I would like to watch that. So let me know if you have watched that and if it's worth watching. Next up, I'm going to just talk about some books that I am planning to read. Carmilla. So this was written before Bram Stoker wrote Dracula. So this is actually the blueprint for Dracula, and I bought this after watching Nosferatu. I need more vampire kind of stuff in my life. I haven't read it yet, but how beautiful is the cover? It was quite hard to get actually. I had to order to get this. I think there's a bit of paint on it actually. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, so I definitely want to read this. It's quite a small book, but I heard it's absolutely fantastic. So I actually ordered this from Chapters in Ireland. So if you're looking to get a copy, I would say check them out because they are able to order it for you. Next up, we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have never read this, and considering Mary Shelley is an Irish girl, I feel like I have to read this. I actually got this copy from an Oxfam charity shop a couple of years ago and I still haven't read it. It's one of those nice Penguin classic editions, so this is definitely on my list, and I feel like I really want to lean into Gothic literature. As much as I love contemporary scary books, I feel like it's my time to dive into Gothic literature, and I've really been enjoying reading Wuthering Heights at the moment, and although that's not like really scary. I feel like it does fall into the theme of ghosts and spectres and creepy houses. Also, I'm aware that the Gutenberg Bible on YouTube has created a Gothic literature reading list over on her channel, so I will link that down in the description as well, because she is so educated. She's amazing. Her videos are just unbelievable. I feel like if you are looking for a little bit more detail, she is the expert, I'm not. But definitely there is some overlaps on some of the books that I've said that I want to read versus what's on her curriculum, although she has a deeper dive over there, so definitely check that out. So I'm gonna have to dismantle my lovely pumpkin setup here, so thank you, Pumpkin, you've been a great prop. So as I was saying, I have been reading Wuthering Heights. I have been reading it on the Kindle, although this copy is really nice. I got it in the charity shop and I couldn't say no. Definitely easier to read than I expected, and definitely loving the moody Gothic vibes. Next up, we have another Irish writer. It is Oscar Wilde and a picture of Dorian Gray. This is another pretty small book in comparison to a lot of classics, and I know the story of what happens, but I've never read it. This is a brand new book that I bought about 2 or 3 years ago and I've never read, so I would love to read this over the next 8 weeks. And you know, I've heard that there's a lot of contemporary TV shows and movies that have kind of not ripped off but taken a lot of inspiration from this book, so it would be good to read the original. Then we're on to the Stephen King collection. So as I said, I have a copy of It back there on my shelf. It is just a terrifying film. The film, I saw it when I was a child and it stuck with me forever. I do not like clowns. I cannot handle it. So I heard the book is even scarier. So I definitely do want to read it. But the book is about that thick. So I don't know if I will do it within this 8-week period. I'm trying to pick things that I can actually do. But if you have read it, I'd love to hear what you think in terms of the original movie and the book. And what did you think of the remake? I didn't watch the remake. I heard bad things and I was like, I'm not watching it. You know, the classic is a classic for a reason. I know I'm always saying that. I'm not going to read all of this in the next 8 weeks, but these have all been picked up from charity shops, and I do try keep an eye out for any authors that I like in charity shops. I don't necessarily want to read every single Stephen King book. Like, I've definitely seen a few and not bought them and just been like, no, that's not for me. But I'll just show you what I do have, which is The Shining, and that movie is absolutely brilliant, and I heard the book is even better. So if you have read the book, let me know, or let me know what you think of the movie, because I just think it's like such a psychological thriller, but then it builds and then it becomes like actual danger, physical danger, and the acting is unbelievable. Although the story of how the actors were treated, in particular the female actors, not so good, but great movie. Next we have Salem's Lot. This is a vampire book and I've never seen the film, and I think I should really read this soon. I feel like I should prioritise this because I'm feeling the vampire vibes, but I'd love to hear if you have read this one yet. And this is another charity shop find. I got this about a year ago, haven't read it, but I will read it. And next up we have some of the vintage Stephen King books which I picked up in the charity shop, and I just think the covers are unbelievable. So I was like, okay, there was like loads of them. There was about 10 different Stephen King books and I only bought 3 of them. So I'll insert a close-up shot of the It book just because I don't think you can really see it in the background there. And then we have this one here, which is the Tommy Knockers, and we have this huge picture of Stephen King on the back. I feel like this is such a vintage cover. You just wouldn't get something like this these days, and the quality of it, but also how thick is that? Seriously. The print's not that small, to be fair. And then we have The Talisman. And interestingly enough, I started watching this show and I wonder, was it based on this book? Because I was reading the blurb and it seemed quite similar. And again, I just loved the font, the colours. It's such a vintage classic style. I just think it looks so beautiful. And when I was buying these books, actually the lady in the charity shop was like, these are amazing books, you need to read them. And I was like, no, I will. And that was a couple of months ago and I haven't gone near them. And I feel like I am a little bit intimidated by how thick they are, because I feel like, oh my God, there's so many books I want to read. How am I going to get through it all? And then I'm like, no, take it month by month. You can do it. Moving on to things that I have recently enjoyed from my personal curriculum. I just finished reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. It was my first V.E. Schwab book, and I have to say it was really good. Did it need to be as long as what it was? No. But was it a good book? Yes. Was I a little bit disappointed with the ending? Also yes. I did think the historical depictions were amazing. I did really feel like the world building was fantastic, and the fact that the storyline jumps between different eras and time was brilliant. Like, I feel like V.E. Schwab must have done a lot of research to make it feel as smooth and fluid as it did as we went between different eras, and the fact that we had 3 different main characters, it didn't feel disjointed at all to me. There was times where I was like, oh no, go back to Sabine or go back to Alice or whatever, but like, it wasn't as if I didn't enjoy any part of it, but I would have liked a little bit more clarity for the ending. But I feel like I say that about all books, and I think I'm someone who likes answers, and I know a lot of books, it's subjective, and it's subjective for a reason, and that's part of what's so good about it. But for me, I'm just like, no, give me the answers, I want to know what happens. But really, really good book. I would recommend it. And again, quite thick, but I read this quite quickly. I felt like I needed to know what happened. So, in fairness, not too much in the difference here between the Stephen King and the V.E. Schwab. So, really, I should just go for it. I don't know why I'm getting book fear, because I never used to be like this, but I feel like there's just so many different things that I want to read. I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed, and the fact that I'm looking around here and I have DVDs, books, it's a lot, but we'll get there. I'd love to know if you've read any of these, or if there's any particular thing you think I should start with, because as I said, most of these books I've had for a few years, or if not a couple of months. So I think I will start with this, but I would love to hear what you think I should start with next. So let me know what your plans for this October and spooky season is. Are there any books you're planning to read? Are there any movies you're planning to watch? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you have read or watched anything that I've mentioned today. I feel a little bit like a kid in a sweet shop at the moment, because I'm surrounded by books. My lovely pumpkin here. I feel like the pumpkin needs a name. Will we name the pumpkin? I don't know what to call the pumpkin. We can think about that. But I feel a little bit like this is my favourite time of year. It's also an excuse to dive a little bit deeper into Celtic culture and learn a little bit more and brush up on my Irish, because I definitely learned how to speak Irish, and I did learn about all these Celtic myths and this Irish history when I was in school, but it's really nice when you're not in school to touch on these subjects. So I definitely feel like my personal curriculum for October is going to be a little bit more relaxed. It's going to be a little bit more an overarching theme of spooky stuff, of Gothic literature, and just connecting with the seasons and connecting with nature, because that is something that I do really think is important. And I don't know if I have mentioned it in my personal curriculums, but I do my best to go out walking on long walks every day, no matter the weather. And if you know Ireland, you know it rains here a lot. So I think it's a really pretty, beautiful time of year to be out admiring the leaves changing colours, looking at the squirrels running around, and just taking it all in. Where nature takes a breath, we take a breath before the madness of winter. And I'd love to hear from you if you are planning to do any spooky season activities, if you have anything similar in your own culture, like Samhain, Iha Samhain in Ireland, or if you had even heard of that before. I'd love to hear more. Let me know if your parents and caregivers or relatives put you in any trash bags, bin bags as a Halloween costume. Let me know, is that only an Irish thing, or did that happen elsewhere in the world? Because I feel like that was a classic 90s child moment here in Ireland. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what your October plans are, and if you hear a banshee crying outside your window, no you didn't. See you in the next one.